Okay, so who are some of our clients that we work with? Oil refinery. We do software, help people make software that controls oil refineries. It's very important that that works, right? The Texas Legislative Council is one of our clients. We help them make software that counts votes. That's important, isn't it? We want the votes to get counted on. T-Mobile, cell phone, so you want to try to call somebody, make sure the phone works. Network equipment, Department of Defense.
What's that important one behind the network?
Oh, yeah, it's video game. We help people make video games that work. So next slide. So we have customers, we have clients, we call them, all over the world. So these are some of the flags of places where we have customers. Let's see, anybody know what that is? Yeah, it's a flag. It's no, not Russian. It's British. That's right. This is the UK flag. Very good. How about this side?
Chinese.
Chinese. That's right. It's a Chinese flag. How about this one?
Egypt.
It's the right continent.
French.
Pick the other end of the continent. South Africa. That's South African flag. Korea. Yeah. Is this guy? Anybody know this one?
Russian.
Japan. Yeah.
I know that.
Switzerland. Now, everybody knows this one, right? Canada. Yeah. Okay. Good. So, Laurel, you want to do the?
So those are some of the places where the kind of work that we do can be done, and where we have to go to do our work sometimes. So you don't only need to do this kind of work in Texas. And computers and computer software are built everywhere, all over the world now, not just in one certain place. Sometimes more in one country, like in one city, like Austin is big as that, but it's all over the world. So we're in Texas, right? We're right here. Do you think you'd have to stay right here if you wanted to go do this when you grew up?
No.
If I took the biggest drill in the whole entire universe, and it doesn't really exist, but I drilled right through the center of the earth from Texas, we could end up on the other side of the earth in Australia and New Zealand. And you could end up there if you did this kind of work, because we do a lot of our work there. In Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Taiwan, China, Malaysia, the Philippines, Brazil, all over the world.
Question here in the front?
What do you have to do with your job?
About to get to
gonna
that.
get that.
I'm going to explain that in just
It
a
was
minute.
like we asked you to ask that question. That was very good.
I got a question, Neil.
This is like
So let me go through this real quickly, and then we'll get to the part about what to do to get the job. Anybody know where this is?
New York.
Everybody thinks it's New York.
Because it looks like the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, what do you think?
Disney.
No, but you know what? It sounds like that. This is Sydney, in Australia. This is called the Harbour Bridge. They also call it the coat hanger. See, because it kind of looks like a coat hanger. So I got to do some work down there in Sydney, a number of times actually. I'm standing right here taking this picture at night, and right this way, you can imagine right over here is the Sydney Opera House. You ever seen the Sydney Opera House? It looks like sails. It's kind of the famous image of Sydney. So I got to do that. Next slide. Anybody know where this is?
Asia.
No, it's not Asia.
Japan.
No.
Japan.
Look at these mountains.
Canada. Africa.
It's actually New Zealand.
Oh.
Okay, this is Wellington, New Zealand. We have an office down here, and this is, see how windy it is? There's all this waves on the bay here. It's pretty deep bay, yeah, it is. They can bring really big boats in here. Next slide, please. Yeah, now there's me here standing with a couple of colleagues of mine in Korea about this Korean language here. I'm about to give a presentation to some people in Korea, and here's me giving a presentation to people in China. This is in Guangzhou, China. When they spoke in English, I did, yeah. When they spoke in Chinese, I'm afraid I didn't. Now, something else that I do when I'm not going around the world teaching classes or consulting with clients, I write books. Okay, so I've written 6 books. Here are some of them. This is the first book I wrote, called Managing the Testing Process. This is a special South Asian edition. This is for the Indian market. So they use really thin paper there to try to keep the cost down. And then this one, same book,
What's the title on that book?
Can we read
Does
the
anybody
title?
Really read that? We're gonna take a test on that later.
No.
Everybody get that title. Uh-oh, you don't know the title? Read it.
In Japanese.
It is in Japanese, that's right, you're the first person to guess that right, that's great. Yeah, that's in Japanese, so somebody took my book and I wrote the book, and they translated it in Japanese, and I can't read my own book. It's Japanese.
Hopefully translated great.
Huh?
Can I see the book?
You can see the book, you guys can pass the book around if you want to take a look at it. That's
So
fine.
he wrote the
Yeah,
book,
I wrote the
and
book,
somebody who
someone
knew
translated it.
Japanese read it, and then wrote it again in Japanese. They translated it.
This book has fake words.
No,
Those
they're
are
not fake
Japanese
words,
words.
it's Japanese words. It's in Japanese.
It looks like fake words, it looks like fake words to us, so that's
Yeah.
maybe.
Some words are up and down.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Some
right.
people write languages in different directions. So, to get back to this question, if you think this sounds like fun, to write books and to travel around the world and work with people on finding software bugs, what do you need? Well, it's true, you need a jet. There is a jet involved.
Here we go.
But before anybody's gonna hire you to do this, what are you gonna have to have?
You're gonna have to
You need to go to where?
a job.
No, well, this.
Who's that waiting?
Is it? Huh?
College.
College, that's right, you need an education. That's right, you need to get educated. So, you gotta go to college, okay? You gotta learn as much as you can about computers and software now, okay? But then you gotta eventually go to college. You can't do this job without a college degree, okay? And so that means you gotta study hard here, you gotta study hard in middle school, you gotta study hard in high school, you gotta get good grades, okay?
What happened in first grade?
Huh?
You
Yeah, so you're in a perfect
It all
starting
starts
position.
here.
It all starts here, that's right. This is
No pressure.
the root of the whole thing. And then get really good grades in school, then you get into a really good college, okay? So for example, UT Austin, those of you who are Longhorns fans, you know, UT Austin, they have a very good computer science program. I'm not sure about the Aggie program, but it might be good too. But there are a lot of good computer science programs where maybe if you want, you could actually go to school somewhere else, like in Australia or New Zealand or something. A lot of options here, but you've got to go to college. And you should try to learn a foreign language, okay?